Just a second. Hello everyone, my name is Ivan Genual, and today I will speak about SAP stuff. First of all, I will just one slide about disclaimer. I hope you understand working with SAP system. It means that I can't provide too much detail or can't provide an exploit of vulnerability we find on SAP system. So just keep in mind that when I show some demo or something like that, I execute script, and yeah, I can't show the content of the script and something like that, but alright. One slide about me. I work on SAP since 16 years now. I began as a SAP administrator, and now I'm focused on the security things. I work for Onapsys company. This is a security company focused only on the SAP side. Okay. Okay, today, the agenda for today, I will introduce what is SAP system, how SAP system work. I try to do it for a pen tester point of view. It just to not lose everyone very quickly. The second part, it's show you 3 very common vulnerability we found during our pen test. And the last part, it's I hope the most fun part, it's basically when you compromise an SAP system, what you can do. This is what we when we perform a pen test, this is what we do not able to do because we can't change the system, we can't change something. So I try to show you what is possible to do against SAP system, and a slide for a conclusion. Okay. Who already know what is SAP? Who already work with SAP? Pen test SAP system? Not few, okay. Okay, SAP system, it's an ERP. This is a global leader of ERP system. And this is very old. Oops, sorry. It's very old. A lot of customers run SAP system, basically all big company in the world. And the most important number, it's this one. More than 78% of the worldwide food, it's produced by SAP customer. So, this is why it's very important to secure SAP system. Let's speak about SAP NetWeaver architecture. This is a picture provided by SAP documentation. This is just to show you when we try to work against SAP, you need to understand something like that. But I try to simplify the things. So there are several components provided by SAP, a lot of products, sorry, and one of the main products is named SAP NetWeaver. SAP NetWeaver, this is the ERP system, and there are 2 parts of this SAP NetWeaver. The very common part is this one. It's called the application server ABAP. So, okay, and it still exists another part of the SAP NetWeaver. This is application Java. This is just two different channel on the SAP NetWeaver. Okay, to work with the ABAP system, you use something called a SAPGUI. The SAPGUI, it's the client. It's a software you need to install on the workstation to communicate with SAP system. So you use a SAPGUI. Use something called ABAP dispatcher services, and work on the database. Okay. For the other side, on the Java side, this is more web oriented side. So you use a browser to communicate with the Java part, and after to retrieve some information directly on the database. And in the middle, I put in the middle, there are several services. When you start an SAP system, there are a lot of services like ICM for Internet Communication Manager, SAP Gateway, SAP Message Server, SAP IGS, and so on. So I not put all because I haven't the place to put all the things. So, okay. When you try to identify what is an SAP system, you identify it by 2 things. The first thing, it's called the SID. The SID is just feature, like Bob or PRD, P01, something like that. And the second identifier is called system number. System number is 2 digits, and this identifier is used it used to create the port number. Just an example, when a SAP administrator installs the system, you need to choose a SID and choose a system number like 05. When the SAP system is started, it begins to listen on this kind of port. 3205, 3305, 3605, 3905, etc., etc. And when you scan an SAP system, I don't know if one of you already scanned it, you get something like that. But if you look on the top, you recognize I'm 3200, 3201, 30, etc. This means just by scanning, you know, beyond this scan, there are probably two SAP instances. One listen on the 00 and one listen on the 01. And all these ports, it's services launched by SAP. So just imagine it in the attack surfaces, it's very, very huge. Okay. What we call an ABAP, this is the language of SAP system. I will not go deeper on it, but just keep in mind, sometimes we call, okay, this is code in ABAP or something like that. The SAP application, it's coded in ABAP. And what we call report is just an ABAP program. Sometimes you use an ABAP program to do something on SAP system. It's basically a launch the report. Transaction. The transaction it's a little command you can use to do something on the SAP system. Basically, this is a screenshot of the SAP-GUI, and normally you can use a menu. You get a menu with what we are able to do on the SAP system. But also you can use this box and put some command directly in this box, and it's called transaction. For example, if SAP administrator need to manage the user, they use S301, and so something like that. So the SM21 needs to use a syslog and something like that. I'll put it here because when you search some documentation or when you read the forum from SAP, a lot of SAP users speak about transaction. So the last thing, it's the client. The client, or it's also called mandant. When you log on a SAP system, this is the SAP-GUI, the login page of the SAP-GUI. You need to provide a user, a password, and the client. The client, it's something created by SAP application to separate the data in application side, not in the database side. Let's show you. This is a quite small, but okay. This is a SAP-GUI, sorry, this is a SAP-GUI screenshot, and I try to display the table zfly, okay? I'm logging on the client 0 file, and I get 1 entry. I'm logging off and logging in with a different user on 06, and I get there are no entry on this table. I'm logging off, logging again on client 007, and I get a different entry. And in this example, this is directly on the database. I try to just query all the Z flag entry. I get the true entry of the flag. Okay, this is just to understand when you compromise SAP system through a particular client, you do not have direct access to other clients. Okay. And I like to show this slide. So SAP work on several OS like Linux, Windows, Unix, what we want. Several databases, DB2, Oracle, SAP HANA, Sybase, and so. There are some kernel on the SAP application side, and you can see here the whole client. I'll be back to this slide after that. So, okay. Now I will try to show you three examples of vulnerability we use 99% of the time during our pen test. First of all, when it's game over. It's game over if you reach some one of these 4 users. Because SID-IDM, so for example, SID-IDM is the administrator user on the OS side. Okay. SAP SF3, it's the database administrator. Substar is the application on application layer. This is there are substar in each mandant. So this is a application administrator, and for Java application, the call for substar is administrator. And why it's game over? Because if you reach, for example, SID-ADM, you can directly access to the database. If you access to the database, you can perform what do you want on the SAP system, like create user, crack password user, or something like that. Another example, if you get an access for one client with substar, you can execute OS command using some report. Okay, report about program. So basically, it's important to understand when you do a pen test, you can basically switch from layer to another layer, from OS side, database side, very, very easy. Okay, first vulnerability. Maybe some of you already heard about it. This is called gateway. So I will attack these services. This is called a sub gateway. The sub gateway, it's the services. These services exist in whole SAP system, and it manages the communication with the outside, with other SAP system or also other third-party system or whatever. The default port is 33 followed by system number. And the security is managed by two files, reginfo file and secinfo file, and this is some ACL file. Basically, you put in the file one line by who can access to the SAP gateway. Okay? And if the file is misconfigured or if the file is missing, it means you can remotely, without authentication, execute command as SID-ADM. And this is a feature of the SAP gateway. This is not a bug. If you run the last version of the SAP gateway, you can do that. It's very, very dependent of the ACL file. And what do you see is something like that. Okay, all is in comment. The last one, P for permit. Everything to do everywhere from everywhere. And this is the timestamp here. So first demo, you can script the thing. Basically, you use the SAP gateway protocol. So I try to attack the target and just execute my script to perform to craft the packet to communicate with SAP gateway. And after that, I can execute, for example, ID, PWD, or what I want as an SID-ADM. This is very quick. This is work because the ACL file isn't well filled. And yeah, this is very dangerous. And of course, you have access to the SAP command like stop SAP. So I just stop the SAP system, I get the error because I just break my connection. Okay, this is for the first one, the SAP gateway. I put whole SAP security note about this vulnerability. Another one, it's what we call the bad. It's about Oracle OPS $. So when you attack an SAP system, you can attack from several services, from client or something, or you can attack directly on the database. Because all the data is stored in the database. Let's speak about Oracle. Oracle, it's around 50% of the whole SAP installation now. And they are their whole vulnerability exists when SAP work with Oracle. Let me show you. So the vulnerability, it's two parts. There are two parts of this vulnerability. The first part is about OPS $ mechanism. So what is the OPS $ mechanism? When SAP application want to perform some task on the Oracle side, they use OPS $ mechanism. The OPS $ mechanism is something like that. First, the SAP, the SID-ADM, connect to the database using OPS $ SID-ADM. Second, it retrieve information about database administrator, SAP database administrator, stored in this SAP user table. get the password, get the credential, and log off and connect back using this new credential. So now the SID ADM is connected as an SAP administrator of the database and can do a lot of things. Take a look on this table, the famous table SAP user. So they are quite small, sorry. This is the name, and they are a hash after. Okay. If you reverse the kernel of the SAP, you can find how this hash is calculated, and it's based on the very whole things with a static key hard-coded in the kernel, and it exists in whole SAP kernel. Yep. Come on. So this hash could be cracked very, very quickly, like a second to retrieve the password. So this is the first thing of this vulnerability. The second thing is a Oracle parameter named remote OS authentication. The remote OS authentication, it's something weird. It means if it put to true, Oracle trusts the OS authentication. Like, I'm logging in on the OS, I want to access to the Oracle database. If it's put to true, the Oracle say, okay, you are connected on the OS side, so I do not ask for new authentication process. Remote. Remotely, it means if I'm logging on the remote system as a SID ADM, and I try to access to Oracle, it's work also again. So, of course, Oracle recommend to put it false because this is a security issue, and SAP would like to put it true for architecture purpose. So, let's show you again. I'm on the attacker system. I use SQL+. SQL+ is the Oracle client, and I try to access to the hostname is target with the port in DVS without credentials. So it asks me for user and password, of course. In my system, in the attacker system, I create a new user. DVS ADM. SID ADM. I switch to the user. Come on. And I issue the same command. I ask to Oracle if I can come. Yeah, SID ADM is trust. I have an access, so now I'm connecting on OPS$ADM, and I have an access only, this user only own SAP user table. There are only one table owned by this user. So display the table, get the username, the hash code, disconnect, use some script, I call it SAP SF3 rescue, and get the password. So just connect back, this time with the user SAP SF3, and the password will just fine. Yeah. Just check. Now I'm a SAP SF3 user, okay, and if I count how many tables, I'm the administrator of how many tables, now I'm owner of 22,000 tables. I can do anything on this table. This is whole SAP table of this is a little SAP system. So, this is the Oracle issue. So I put whole security note about it. Let's pick up the last one. The last one, it's about something called P4 services, and these services only work on the Java side. Okay, so this is not work against ABAP system or basically other kind of database table, but only on the Java side. The P4 services, it's services to manage the communication with something called Visual Administrator Tools. The Visual Administrator Tools, it's a tool for SAP administrators. They install these tools on their workstation, and they can connect remotely to an SAP system and perform some task. Administration task, of course. So only for Java S. The default port is 5, system number 04. And there are all vulnerability since 4 years now. When if you gain access to this port, you can download every file owned by SID-ADM. So basically, you can download every file from the SAP system. So this is the first thing, okay? But what is the most important file in SAP system? Maybe some of you already work on it. No? About security things, the most important file is something called SAP Secure Storage. SAP Secure Storage, it's a couple of files where SAP put all their credentials. Like SID-ADM, the credential of SID-ADM are in it, the SAP SF3 credential also can on it, and a lot of credential. Like if you configure two SAP systems to communicate each other, you need to add some user and password to communicate with the other system. For example, this user and password are in the SAP Secure Storage, and this is the path. So the path is a well-known path because this is every time on this path. So user, SAP, and SID, I just replace the SID by the real SID name. So, okay, you can, using the P4, you can retrieve this file remotely without authentication, but the file is, of course, encrypted. And again, this is not the same encryption, of course, but it's using several keys, not one, but several keys, and the key is the same for every SAP system. So if you retrieve the file, you can decrypt the file also quickly. So let's show you. So this is the internet access to the SAP Network Java. I try to access to the administrator dashboard. Just test if the port is open. Okay, and I will use a script named P4 get file on the target. This is the host name, the port. This is the file I want to retrieve and where I'll put it. So I just put in the /name/target. I retrieve the dot key and the dot property because this, the SAP Secure Storage, it's a 2 file. I retrieve it. It's quite long because it's Java. Sorry. Okay, I retrieve the file and I use another Python script to decrypt the file and I retrieve. So this is one line, this is the encrypted version, and one line the decrypted version. I use this key phrase. The key phrase is also called the master password, and now I enter administrator and the password I just found here. And now I'm logging as the SAP administrator of the Java part. So this is a game over because you can access to the database, etc., etc. Okay. So I put the security node for P4. This is P4. The P4 vulnerability, it's a bug, so you can patch it. If you run a new Java kernel, this is okay. For the SSFS, it's quite different, but okay. All right. So I show you how it's very complicated to own an SAP system. Now I will try to speak about what we can do. So first thing, it's what I call leaks, or it's about confidentiality. Let's speak about HR. In this SAP system provide a SAP NetWeaver with a component dedicated to HR purpose. This is the name of the SAP system. How many table handle some HR data? How many table in SAP City could handle HR data? How many? 10? 1,000? So quite more. Close. This is 500. On an SAP system, you can find 500 tables with HR data in it. This is just an example. So, I managed to just put some of them. So the most important, the action, this is the salary, basically. And you get the address, the bank data, and so on and so on. It's fun, there are also someone dedicated to Switzerland fiscality. Don't know why. So, okay, I compromised my system. I'm SID IDM on the system. The SID is EP7 on this time. I just used DB-include. This is the database client. And access to the database. And leak information from SAP is something like that. Just perform some query and you get all information of the user, the name, the addresses. This is above the birthday, and also you can retrieve all the salary of the system. This is all the salary, and you can take the top 10 of the salary. So quite good. This is a fake data, of course. And just imagine that this is an example with HR things. So just imagine what is possible to do with sales document and so processing document or something like that. So this is about confidentiality. Fraud, or also we can call it integrity. First of all, I'm not an expert on this topic, so maybe I will not use the good vocabulary about financial things, so excuse me. And I use the original idea come from another researcher. This name is Estengar Arsal. He did a very good presentation about SAP in the Black Hat, and so so I take the same things and do something. So SAP could manage the financial accounting. So you can create a bank reference. You can create a lot of things with SAP system. Basically, SAP can send money to the bank or retrieve money to another bank or something like that. Okay? You can, in SAP system, you can retrieve whole the schedule of the bank transfer. So in this example, on the left, this is the accounting information. So you will get the name of the vendor. This is an ID in SAP system. You are all the information of the vendor, etc., etc. On the right side, this is the date of the transfer. So it's tomorrow. It's good. And this is the amount of the transfer. So tomorrow, in this SAP system, there are a transfer of, this sum to, of this sum to this account. All are stored in the table. All are in the database. So we can modify the bank information. An example, I compromise my system. This is a SAP GUI. I use the transaction to search for all scheduled money transfer. I put a filter to this year to not get too much result. So this is the list of whole money transfer schedule. You recognize the first one. The first one is the screenshot before, and you can basically select your target like that. You retrieve you get the vendor ID, and with another transaction, you can take a look on this vendor detail. And the detail I need to choose is the payment information. Okay, and we retrieve the bank key, the bank account, and the IBAN. So all are in the table. So back to the SID IDM, logging into the database, and it's just an update. The most complicated is to find the table name, and just perform an update. and I'll need to update the bound key with this IBAN. So back to the SAP, refresh, and now this is my IBAN. And you can do it, of course you can reverse back the change, so put the old IBAN, so this is a previous IBAN. And because we do that directly on the database, it means there are no traces in the SAP layer. Good luck. So the things behind that is, okay, I can find the schedule, I can find the target, and I don't know, today I change the IBAN, I wait for tomorrow the transfer, and on Sunday I revert back the IBAN. So this is it. Last one. It's about availability, or I like to call it sabotage. I like break things. Okay. When we speak about sabotage or availability on the SAP system, and you discuss with customer, okay, we can do what do you want on the SAP system, like stop the system, delete the kernel, delete sensitive data, delete HR data, or something like that. This is very annoying. But one time, during a meeting, our customer told us, yes, but our SAP team have a backup. So, okay, we lost one day, maybe two, we lost a lot of money, but SAP administrator have a backup. So I think a little about it. And yes, SAP could monitor this own backup. This is using a transaction. This is a DB13 transaction, and this is an example of the week in October. And the SAP administrator can add some backup. Okay, I need to backup on 8 p.m. Every day my database, etc., etc. And so on the morning, the SAP administrator log in the SAP, launch the DB13 transaction, and see if the backup is okay or not. So what's possible to do? Let's show you. It's more easy to understand. So I launch the DB13 transaction. I get the calendar. So the first 4 backups of the week are failed, because red is failed, green or blue, it's okay. So I use another transaction in DB24. We find again our backup. And so this time this is not a table, but this is a file on the OS side, on this path. You can modify the file. Okay, this is a backup, blah, blah, and a return code. Let's try to put 0 on it. Back to SAP, and refresh. So now the backup worked great. No issue. But if SAP take a look on the log file, they find something weird because the backup is failed, or the backup is too quick, or something like that. But the file, it's also a file on the OS side, so you can modify the file as well. Like it. Back to the SAP system, and refresh. So now if the SAP administrator try to take a look on the file, you know, I can do what I want. So you can retrieve a good backup file and copy the file and just change the timestamp or something like that. So this is, so the thing behind that, it's okay, an attacker can compromise the system, modify the backup script or backup configuration, and tamper the backup monitoring for weeks. Then after that, crash the system. So, and run after quickly. Okay. One slide about conclusion. The attack surfaces on the SAP system is huge. I only show you 3 very common attacks, but it's good to know that there are around 300 vulnerability by years patched by SAP. So And patching, it's very complicated because SAP system is critical. SAP system, you can't patch it like a mobile application or something like that. So it's why we still find a very old vulnerability are still present. So, and SAP system hold sensitive data of the company, of course, and as you can show, the post-exploitation things could be could really take of various form. And just to remind you, I'm not a post-exploitation expert, and what I show you is it took me around 2 days to find a good table to make some tests or something like that. So just imagine what is possible to do if you are a weeks behind you to perform the post-exploitation things. So it's okay for me.
Thank you very much for the good presentation and the timing. We have time for questions or comments. Yes?
Hi. What do you suggest companies should do to remove the dependencies to SAP? Are there other applications? Can we export the data to other applications and remove some of the dependencies and vulnerabilities?
It's very complicated to quit SAP. We know that. The thing it's very important to take the SAP security like other form of security, because 10 years ago there are no SAP vulnerability in the wild, and the SAP security it's pretty young, and we find the company doesn't take care of SAP security for many years, and just begin to understand, okay, SAP could be very critical, and so you manage the security of the Windows part or application part or whatever. So you need to manage the SAP as well and take care of the security on the SAP. There are not plenty, but there are some company and some platform dedicated to SAP security as well.
Other question, comments?
Here.
Oh, okay.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. So my question is, when you find a bug like this, do you usually report them to the vendor, and what do they do about it? Do SAP fix the vulnerabilities? How long does it take, and so on?
This is my daily job. I'm a security researcher on SAP system, and basically, when you find a bug, we report it to SAP. Sometimes we discuss about the bug to reproduce it or something like that. They took around 6 months to correct the bug. It depends on the component, but on SAP NetWeaver, there are a lot of versions, and they need to test the patch in whole version. This is why it's very long. And after, when they release the patch, I need to wait again 3 months before begin to speak about it. And I could never put a detail of vulnerability. I come this full disclosure. This is not imagined for SAP side.
Other question? Yes.
Thank you for this very interesting, although quite scary talk. What are your thoughts about securing subsystems? Do you think that just by tuning their configuration they could achieve some sort of security, or do you think that it's really broken and they have to review, to change their design and their architecture in order to embed security in it from scratch?
The answer can't be easy, because SAP security is very complex, and like I said before, you need to take the security about SAP like other kind of component. And but well, when we perform the pen test or when we perform the security assessment, basically we find 4 or 5 vulnerability everywhere. And if you patch at least this only 5 vulnerability, you increase your security quite quick. But it's very, yeah, it took very long time to secure an SAP system. So.
How can they do compliant with the GDPR regulation with surface attack?
I'm not a GPDR expert. I know SAP provides some GPDR tools and components to do some, but yes, this is kind of thing where GPDR is very hard to put in the SAP system. I know there are a lot of projects before previous year to put GPDR on SAP side, but I'm not very an expert on this matter.
More question, comments? I have one about, you say that it's difficult to guess or to find the database names. How does it work to find the name of the database when you change the script to find this is a good name for the last one?
I don't get it.
You need to find the database name in order to make the update. How do you
need to find the database name to
the table name? And after you need to for the update. So this is maybe difficult.
No, there are a lot of tables on SAP system, and when basically you can use 2 things. The first thing is Google. Google, please tell me what is the table for SAP where is stored the IBAN, and basically you find it. The second thing is the SAP GUI. Using the SAP GUI, you can use when you are in the transaction, you can find which is the report behind the transaction, and take a look on the report, reverse the ABAP program, you can find the table in this report.
Other questions? Okay, let's thank the speaker again.